701-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot. Just like us. We're like the bag boys. What? Bag boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Gonna bring your food. For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Bag boys. Price participation may vary. Each choice of GBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4 piece nuts, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Ignite your desire at Sissy's Log Cabin with our exclusive Facets of Fire Diamond. Created through the first diamond cutting advancement in over a century, the Facets of Fire Diamond features more brilliance than any other. With its burst of fiery color, this diamond is passion personified. Shop Facets of Fire at sissyslogcabin.com or in store and experience the evolution in diamonds only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway and the Parkplace Center, Upper Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Highland Branch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's cranking up even more in the last few minutes over here in this slow traffic on 240 eastbound as you approach Popular coming past Bill Morris Parkway. Still a little bit heavy at times. Certain sections in the Midtown area up and down 240 around South Parkway. A lot of this could be a result from that 55 bridge that remains closed for the next 2 weeks. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Red Stat Sportsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, working to get Jim Gallagher on to talk the U.S. Open, as we're just a couple days away from the third major of the year. Kind of hard to believe that we're already getting that close to the third. I mean, after this weekend, it will be just one more left, which is kind of hard to believe. But with the U.S. Open coming up, obviously a lot to get into about that course. And we know U.S. Opens in the past kind of play a little bit harder. So we'll see what happens this weekend, Brett, and, who can have a big weekend in the third major.
Yeah, Tiger spoke today, and press conference was very revealing. I mean, he thinks that he has a chance to compete. And I think if he's ever going to compete and contend and maybe win again, this might be the place for him, or an Open Championship if the weather stayed benign all 4 days. It never has, but if it did, he has a chance there, because you don't have to shoot 16, 17, 18 under to win it. You can win it around 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think if he, if he got to Sunday, and he, like this week, he got to Sunday and he was sitting there at 3 under, and you needed to get to 6 on Sunday to win it, he could do that.
Sure, yeah, and I was watching, I think maybe ESPN yesterday, and they were talking about how this course a lot flatter, and that will definitely help him walk.
A lot warmer.
Kind of, his issues that he's had in the past with health and all of that. But so maybe this is the weekend where it gets better for him. I don't know, but I don't have high hopes for Tiger this weekend.
No, I don't either. And he's not the focal point of these majors anymore. He's just not. No. He's got to understand. Time marches on for all of us, and this December 30th, there's going to be 49 birthday candles on that cake.
Yes,
that's about the same number of surgeries he's had.
Well, yes, and no, he's not getting any younger.
And I love him, and he's been great for the game.
No, he absolutely has, and we'll see. Maybe, I know he is very confident every time he's out there, so maybe he has one more in him, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. I believe we have Jim Gallagher with us now. Very excited to have him on from the Golf Channel. Also a past champion here at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Jim, thanks so much for joining us. What are you excited for the most this weekend at the U.S. Open? I don't know if we might not have Jim there. I don't know. Try to get him on.
I'm back on.
There we go. Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Sorry, I'm excited. I'm excited about just watching how these guys can play this golf course. It's going to be very difficult, and I think that's going to be the hardest part. Is these greens are going to be very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, we were talking about kind of the winning score. Unless some rain came in, because they're not going to throw the water on it, I think about 5 or 6 under would win it. What do you think wins it?
That runs away.
Runs off and hides, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and give it to me, and you hand me the trophy. I think even par is a good score. Now, it depends how they set it. If they get the greens any faster than they are now, we're talking even par. If they keep them the same, you'll see some guys shoot a good score tomorrow. But, I mean, it could be – I think it's not going to be any more than that. No way. I just think it's just it's a golf course that takes a lot of discipline around the greens and on the greens and going after them. There's plenty of room off the tee. But if you miss the fairway, it's 70% chance you're going to be in some stuff you don't want to be in. Probably wedging it out and some bad lies. But the greens are the defense. And right now they're just playing so tough.
Do you like what they've done to Pinehurst? This is not Pinehurst when Michael Campbell won it. This year in Pinehurst when Payne Stewart topped Phil Mickelson.
No, and it was like when Martin Keimer won it, it's similar, but actually it's matured. And they put Bermuda greens down. And we know what happened at Southwind when we put Bermuda greens down there versus the bench. It's at least 3 or 4 shots tougher with these Bermuda greens and firmer. Right now the greens will hold a decent shot. That doesn't mean they're going to be spinning it, but they're just so fast. Every player I talked to said it's not about holding the green.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the speed of them, and they're all, dome-shaped, as we talk about. There's a very small landing area. I walked with Wells Williams and VJ Trolio, and remember VJ with Cohen in the USAM, and he said it's planned as very similar as it did in the USAM, and I think those were rock hard because they were really fresh. So you got very small areas to hit the ball, and there's some long par fours, even for these guys. So it's going to be a tough test. I mean, the weather's supposed to be beautiful. I don't see them putting any water on them. And I just think, if they firm up, which they should, it's all about how fast they want to get them. Because if they get them too fast, it could get silly. And I don't think they're going to do that.
Jim, the two biggest topics, it feels like, whenever we get to a major is, one, the live guys being back in the fold, and then two, Tiger Woods being back. And I was reading something the other day talking about Tiger and his recent struggles just kind of with his health, and getting up and down these courses is really hard. Maybe this course being a little flatter might help him. What do you expect with Tiger in these events moving forward, and specifically this weekend at the U.S. Open?
I think it's going to be tough for him. He hadn't played a lot of competition. I think it's a physical thing for him. I think his golf swing looks fantastic. But I think I remember looking at my phone. I think it's 15,000 steps that I took today. So that's a lot of steps, and that it may be less for him because I'm kind of walking a few more at the outside, but not much. But I just think it's just such a tough golf course for 4 days. I mean, yeah, can he play good for 1 or 2 days? Absolutely. I just think we expect so much for him, and I think you just mentioned he's going to be 49 years old. I know that's not old, but his body is 69 years old.
Yeah.
And hey, when he plays, it's so much more fun to watch him, to see how he gets around. But it gets tough, and I know he's paced himself around here, but yeah, I mean, everybody wants to see him play well. His golf swing, like I said, looks great. Making the cut would be a great accomplishment. It's going to be tough to play 4 days. It's going to be hot. It's going to be tough. Golf course is hard, which he doesn't mind. He'd rather have it like that, I'm sure. But it's going to be a pretty big challenge for him to do much better than making the cut.
Yeah. Our guest is Jim Gallagher on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. He's with the Golf Channel, and he won the FedEx St. Jude Classic in 1995 at TPC Southwind, and it was a lot of fun. Jim, this week at Pinehurst, there's going to be a club used that a lot of us can relate to that don't know how to chip. There's going to be a lot of Texas wedges this week.
Absolutely, and I have several players that said, how are you going to play it? I mean, because it's a little grainy. So if you try to hit a wedge or even a gap wedge, it can catch that leading edge. And I said, are you going to use a hybrid or a 3-wood? And they said, no, because it feels like it comes off the face hotter with a 3-wood and a hybrid. And I said, well, that's interesting. So they're seeing guys hit 4s and 5-irons. And it tends to be a little bit better. And I think you're going to see a variety of everything. And put it this way, it's shots these guys have never really probably practiced much. And they're having to learn it in 2 or 3 days. And I think that's going to be a challenge for a lot of them. You're going to miss a lot of green. And, you can putt it. It's just a little grainy and it's a little inconsistent. But I've seen everything you can imagine around the greens. I think that's going to be the beauty, is watching these guys work themselves around these greens. And some of them are so brutal that even though a bunker may not be a bad play, you hate to see it, but it may not even be a bad play sometimes.
Yeah, it might not. I'm curious, this weekend at an event like this, who are some golfers that you think fit that mold that can really compete and maybe hear their name be called with a trophy in their hand on Sunday?
Well, I think you look at the same guys. I mean, the Xander Schauffele's, the Scotty. I mean, you can't throw that out. I would say if John Rahm wasn't injured or whatever's going on with his foot, he would be somebody to be fun to watch around here. But I think it's a second shot golf course, and go down the list and look at your guys, their strokes gained into the greens approach, your iron players. Those are the guys to look for to be near the top. Because the short game's a lot different than anything we do around the PGA Tour. Like I said, there's so many options around it, but it is definitely a second shot golf course. So those are the guys you kind of look at, who has that strength in that area.
This is some field. 19 major winners in this field, 156-person field. We don't have fields like that often anymore, but we had all the qualifiers. And you mentioned young amateur Wells Williams from West Point, Mississippi, the grandson of the late George Bryan and Marcia Bryan. George Bryan, a good friend to so many people in Memphis and in the South and in the country and in the world, to this radio station. Jim, he was so good to me through so many years, advertising, being a friend. We know he would be proud that Wells Williams, 20 years old, just completed his sophomore year at Vanderbilt, made it through sectional qualifying, and I'm going to be a nervous wreck when he's on the tee Thursday.
Yeah, and you know what? It gave me chills. You just bringing that up. Mr. Bryan was so good to my family and such a special person. And I tell that story when I went into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame, and he found a way to get down there in the wheelchair after a stroke, and I'll forever remember that. It's just, and I get a little choked up thinking about it. But you know, I walked 3 or 4 holes with Wells. I think he's got the demeanor for this. He's calm. He doesn't overthink it. BJ Trolio's caddying, who's his instructor, and actually VJ caddied for Cohen when he was a semifinalist here in the USAM. So I just think it's, and I asked him, what do you think? He said, man, this is really cool. And I mean, I think as long as you can take it all in, and he expects to play well. You know, whether he does or not, we'll find out. But it's going to be exciting. I'm so proud to see him. Jackson Suber, who played at Ole Miss, is first alternate, so we're hoping he gets in as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's really cool to see these young players that we've watched, at least I have, and I know you all have, since they've, you know, been through college and all that stuff, to now see them getting an opportunity to play in the U.S. Open. And it's a tournament that championship I struggled with because I let it get to me. And now that I'm the age I am, I could look back and say, man, I wish I was a little nicer to myself and wouldn't let it get to him. That's my advice to anyone, because you're going to get bad breaks. You've heard the old story where Jack says he looks at the field, you cut it in half, you cut it in another half, you're probably only playing against 30 guys because the rest of them are going to get to him.
Wells' teammate at Vanderbilt, also in this field, amateur Gordon Sargent, he is viewed as can't miss, isn't he?
Yeah, and he didn't have maybe the spring that we thought he might have, but he's phenomenal. Has a lot of distance off the tee. I think he figures that out a little bit. He's still learning. And to his credit, he's coming back for another year. I applaud that. Pro golf's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. And I would suggest that to any player is, you know, unless you're beating everybody every single week, you know, get that experience playing against these guys and learn and try to get better. Because you come out here, it's a different animal. And no, Gordon is a phenomenal player. He had a great tournament last year at LACC. So, you know, he's got plenty of length, but length will help. But like I said, it's second shots. And I look forward to these guys and when their future, because we cover the NCAAs and we see these players, and we're now getting to see a lot of them out there playing. I mean, Ludwig Oberg. You look at him. I mean, we figured now that's a can't miss guy, and you know what? So far he hasn't. He hasn't missed much for sure.
Jim, I know you're going to visit with them before they tee off on Thursday and try to keep them loose. You need to walk Wells and Gordon over to the trophy and show them that there's already a Sargent, Sargent, on the trophy. The winner in 1909, George Sargent. So tell Wells, look, you can get – there's not a Williams on here. You can get on here. Sargent's already on here.
Exactly. You know what? I'll mention that to one of our producers, Mark Loomis, who's a Vandy grad. I'll pass that on to him, and you can be sure he'll get that to Gordon. But if I see Gordon, I'm going to say, your name's already out of Wells. Put yours on there, too. That'd be crazy good.
Good stuff. Have a great week, Jim.
Yeah, enjoy it, Jim.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Sorry for the technical problem.
No worries. Thank you, man.
Jim Gallagher joining us from the Golf Channel. It should be a fun weekend at the U.S. Open. I'm really excited.
To be 20.
Well, yeah, that would be nice.
And not nervous playing in the U.S. Open.
Yeah, you know, that's just to have those that type of confidence to not.
Can
be
you
nervous
imagine those first
US.
tee jitters, Brett?
Brett, I'll be honest. We had a group behind us last week when we were playing at Timber Trust, and when they got a little close, and they were, you know, we got slowed up by the groups in front of us, and they could see me on my tee shot. I was getting a little nervous. Now imagine the U.S. Open.
I had first tee jitters for you by osmosis last Thursday.
I mean, it's stuff out there.
I should have tweeted. at you, Brian. I know. Tee it high and let it ride.
Right.
Thinking about you today in your round.
You know what? I would have appreciated that. You know, maybe you would have gotten my score a little lower. I don't know. It's kind of like what John said. Maybe not all the other things that go into my score. Maybe it's just I'm not very good, but that's okay. But fun times talking with Jim Gallagher, from the Golf Channel and past champion here at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. But we need to go ahead and get to a break. An off day tonight, if anything. We had Stanley Cup Finals last night, NBA the night before that, an off night, if anything, tonight before we get right back into the NBA Finals tomorrow night. So when we come back, we're talking a lot of NBA Game 3, also this injury to Kristaps Porzingis. We're doing that next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ.
Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Winton Road.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sportsworthy, and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our family leisure studio. We got to talk about the NBA as Game 3 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night. I mentioned it with one of my top or not top stories, but 5 teams have come back from 2-0 deficits in the NBA Finals. Dallas will look to join those teams, and actually Dallas, not too long ago in 2006, they were on the receiving end as they went up 2-0, then ended up losing. So maybe they can, get some redemption from that. But
that was to LeBron-less Miami.
That's right.
Right?
That was Miami. That is correct.
That was Shaq.
That was Shaq. You're right. So we'll see. It's going to take a lot, but
and Luke Quinn.
Hey, Luke Quinn, gotta remember him. But I all of that starts with a win tomorrow night at home for Dallas, and with how this team's been playing lately, it's not going to be easy for them. I mean, Boston has been by far the better team, and a lot of guys for Dallas have not shown up lately, and that's going to have to change tomorrow night if they want to try to stay in this series.
And this is not all on Kyrie Irving either.
No. It's a lot of those guys that have really
I think that's
well.
a little bit of injustice,
Sure.
kind of, to all fall to him.
Sure, and that comes with the territory of being a
But it sure ain't
superstar.
Luka's fault.
It ain't Luka. If there's somebody you can't put the blame on, it's Luka. I mean, he has been out of this world.
If
as
I got to
usual.
blame one of the two.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to blame Kyrie. And again,
And that's not fair either, because
No.
it is a team sport.
Sure.
I do think a quick start is very, very needed. What was the first year of a 2-0 comeback? Was it Philadelphia in 77?
No, that was the second time. It was 69. Boston came back down 2-0 against the Lakers, won it in 7. Jerry West, finals MVP on the losing team.
He's the only one ever.
That's right.
in NBA Finals
that was
history.
Bill Russell's 11th ring and his second as a player coach. Love that. Good old player coach.
And I think that was his last, too.
Yeah, I think so.
And Jerry West, MVP of the finals on a losing team. Maybe that's why he was so nasty all the time. To be MOP of a Final Four on a third-place team
I mean, you think
at West Virginia.
You think if you what do you got to complain about? Then you lose, but then you still get a trophy.
You're the logo man.
It's
Lighten up.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's the best of both worlds. Nobody likes losing.
He was a big
well,
mine guy.
Well, honestly, Brett, when you're the logo, I mean, doesn't surprise me. Think that comes with an ego. But I guess that happens. But no, I'm excited for tomorrow night. I hope Dallas can take a game, but I'll be honest, I don't know if I'd pick them. I don't know. I'm certainly not going to bet on them.
You'll love this. I sent to Jim Gallagher. Great stuff. Thank you so much, as always, for being on with us. Have a great week. I love these young guys. O to be 20. Brett, he sent back. He goes, love being with y'all. Thank you for having me always. You know how much Memphis means to me. But I don't know if I'd want to do it all over again if I was 20. I sent back to him. I said, I think I do.
Well, hey, why not? Start it all over again.
I think I do the same thing every time.
Great. That's great. Why not? That's good stuff. That was fun.
But this weekend, I mean, a lot of us that cannot chip, that are allergic to a pitching wedge or a sand wedge, we can relate. It'll be a lot of putting.
I tell you.
I don't know that I'm going to try it with my 3 or 4 iron, though.
No.
I want a little flatter than that.
A little bit. I
don't know that I have a 3 iron anymore.
Oh, yeah. You might not. When we were out, and I hate that.
And that was interesting. Jim said the hybrid clubs were too bouncy.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Last week when we were out golfing, whenever I'd get close and I'd be chipping, and Connor would go about 25% on this swing. Don't go full back. Don't go 50. Yeah. Just go 25% back, and then and I'd go, and it'd feel in my head like, and I get done. You go, that was 50% again. Every time you do it, it's 50%.
Well, and the decel at the bottom is where you lose your percentage.
Yes.
And that's what you at least should do. It should be back a little and all the way through.
That's right.
But it's hard for us to imagine that.
Yeah, I couldn't get it down.
One time I played in a tournament, and I was practically chipping from the 100-yard marker, or putting with the Texas wedge with a putter, and fairly effectively.
How about that?
And we win our match. I was the D player, and our A player played great, and I helped. And we played against a B and a C player.
Sure.
And it drove them crazy. And I heard one goes, he needs to regrip his putter, and he had something else to say.
Sure.
And the other guy responded back to him and goes, he can hit any club he wants to. And they were into it with each other over it.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Golf stories are the best, Brett.
Golf stories are great.
They can get out of control. But I'm excited. I know who you're picking tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm hoping
420 tomorrow.
I'm hoping
Scotty
I know who I
Scheffler.
pick.
I know I'm picking Shock.
See, I don't know who I'm picking Shock yet. I haven't gotten that far. We think we know who we're going to pick for the
And
lock.
it's from the world of the big old mean live.
Ooh, interesting. Hope it's not John Rahm. That
But
injury
I can't Shock. He's ranked too high.
Is he still ranked too high? I
Yeah.
guess that's right. Yeah, interesting. So, it'll be fun tomorrow. 420.
I wanted my Shock pick to have just nasty short game.
Okay. Well, I'm
wedging
excited
it.
for tomorrow. I don't know who you're talking about, so we'll see tomorrow at 4:20 and see who you end up picking. But we need to get to a break and wrap up this hour. And when we come back to start our second hour, we'll talk a lot of college football with Brent Beard.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Getaway Sports Best kept secret in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garden created this SEC NFL Dream Park over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of the action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Come up on 6 pool tables. Just here in town. Grab a cool stick and get you some chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 1 to 6 p.m. Long Meadows 1625. Getaway Sports Bar, 2632 Winchester.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call, hit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Everyone is loving what they are doing at Genesis Diamonds right now. Hi, it's Eric Hasseltine inviting you to get the ring of your dreams and take advantage of 0% financing for 5 years. You can get a handcrafted designer ring with a GIA certified diamond for only $100 a month. Wedding bands, color bands, fashion necklaces, just $40 a month. Pick any item, pay $0 down, and spread your payments over 5 years. Don't miss this amazing offer. All natural and lab-grown diamonds included. Now through the end of June only, and only at Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is an ACUSA church located in town Memphis. This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD is on the scene of a couple of non-injury crashes out here in the last few minutes. Here's what we're seeing. Slow go traffic waiting for you already over here on 240 East up by Poplar. That's not going to surprise you. That traffic's already heavy in certain sections of 240, trying to get out of the Midtown area. Watching it pick up also on 40 West, passing Danny Thomas, headed back across the Hernando de Soto Bridge over into West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry here in Memphis has specialized in bridal ring purchases, and they have since 1984. Go by and see them this bridal season at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. broadcasting stations. Oh, yeah. College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beard, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beard. SEC, ACC, AAC. We talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beard with Bryant and Brent.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Brent Beard joins us from First Coast News in Jacksonville. Brent, thanks so much for joining us. We're getting a lot more scheduling news today in college football, and I saw this. Ross Dellinger posted this. ABC is going to have a hell of an opening act of college football on August 31st. Noon, Clemson versus Georgia. 3:30, Miami at Florida. 7:30, Notre Dame at Texas A&M. Oh, and then the following day, Sunday night, USC versus LSU. Feels like ESPN and ABC, they got the first Saturday right.
ABC is quite excited. Our station down here actually is a ABC-NBC affiliate with both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
I didn't know that was legal.
I didn't either.
Oh, yeah. We've been doing that for quite some time, and it's worked out well. Now, again, don't forget, Bryant, that Clemson-Georgia game is a neutral site game that there won't be very many Georgia fans there in Atlanta, so don't forget that. Miami at Florida has certainly got a tremendous amount of excitement here, and that will be rather toasty at 3:30. Notre Dame and A&M game day is actually there with that game too, and then USC LSU in Las Vegas. Look, that won't be much better than relaxing on that Sunday, waiting with that game. And guys, people may not realize, but I mean, LSU's lost I know they've lost twice to FSU, once to UCLA. They've lost 4 openers in a row, so this is a big game for them.
It's a really big game for them, Brent, and I think this year, I know there's a lot of conference loyalty. One of the most proud chants out there is SEC, a big bowl win over a Big Ten team or whoever, and also it's very proud when the other team gets to chant back at SEC teams, SEC, when they pull the win over SEC. So it works both ways. That's part of it. Got to be big boys and girls and understand that. But this year, I think conference loyalty, brand loyalty, even like I've mentioned for Memphis, used to a lot of Memphis fans would want to pull for Boise State and pull for Cincinnati and pull for Central Florida, kind of a kinship with the little guy, pulling for them to crack through. Not anymore. Memphis wants Boise State to lose out of the gate. They sure want them to lose at Oregon week 2, but the SEC's got to do that as well. A&M could knock Notre Dame out of the national picture week 1, and if they don't, Notre Dame's not losing again for a while. After they play Texas A&M, they have Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami, Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, and Navy before they host FSU. If you don't get Notre Dame out of the scene early, they're going to be right in the picture, and they're in everybody's playoff picture.
Oh yeah. Well, and that is a big game for A&M too. They've got to establish themselves as a playoff contender too, after being the perennial 8-4 under Jimbo. They've really got to make some hay. Frankly, weren't much better with Kevin Sumlin, frankly, but it will be. It's going to be fascinating to see if Connor Weigman is back with that game for A&M. Now, think about this a minute. How about A&M starting with Notre Dame and ending the season with Texas? That's pretty good bookend, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
not bad.
Get you some football there. That's a lot. And in between, they get others. In between, A&M gets they go to Gainesville. They play Mizzou, they play LSU, It's a very tough schedule.
Well, it is. And look, no one has a tougher schedule here than the Gators.
Nope.
And that's been talked about a lot. But still, when you really look at it, I think you've got a situation there to where you might they may go 4-1 or 5-0 in their first 5, and then after that, I think there's a chance. I think they could win a game or two in that ridiculous slate that's left, and if they're able to do that, I mean and that's not to be proud of necessarily, but 6-6 or 7-5 with that schedule, I think they take that right now and write it in blood.
Okay, Brent, we haven't asked that question all year. We're in the very early stages of the run up to college football. What is the number for Billy Napier? He's got to win what number, or he's out?
I think probably 6 or 7. I'm not sure he could survive 5 and 7.
Florida's keeping 6-win coaches.
I know it. But I mean, reality
have they walked by the trophy case lately?
Yeah, they. But they've got to be. Now here's what I hear from Gator fans. I hear, look, if we could be 6-6 and 7-5 and look better in November, and not have these silly can't get the guys on the field for a field goal in time, got 2 number 3s on the field at the same time against Utah. You hear some of that. And guys, the reality to this, now Joe McElwain made a couple of Eastern Division titles one way or another, but they haven't. No one knew they were SEC champions then. But the problem is with Florida, and this is what Brett's saying, when you play and have the records they've had as of late, I'm not going to say people are accepting mediocrity, but they're not demanding more than what they would have years ago.
Has it set into them with all the greatness, with that full trophy case, with that expanded Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, with the Swamp and its reputation? Only 2 really did it, Spurrier and Meyer. That's
right.
It.
Oh, yeah.
Over 60 years.
The thing that's helped them right now is this upcoming trip to Omaha, and they think Todd Golden is maybe turned a corner in basketball, and they're still hoping. Now, what keeping them going in football is Napier's got a pretty good recruiting class this last year, and it looks pretty good for 25 for 26. So that's kind of what they're hanging their head on until they can really get something substantial going.
Yeah. What do you think Graham Mertz looks like this year? Because it feels like going into last season, there was a lot of questions about him on how he would fare as the starting quarterback at Florida. What do you think happens with him this year as the starter?
I think he'll be tremendous. I really do. I like Mertz. I think Mertz is really good.
Yeah.
Mertz is really one of the 5 better quarterbacks in the league. I think that argument could be had. He was really good toward the end of the year last year. I mean, against South Carolina, and they didn't win, but again, he did well against Florida State. I think they're fine with how they feel about their offense. I think they've got a running game with Montreal Johnson. The offensive line has to be better, and the receivers, they've got some real promise there with Trey Wilson. Where they're really have got to improve is defensively.
Yeah.
That is something that's going to be humongous for them.
Yeah.
And that month of November, well stated over the offseason, but let me remind people, cocktail party on November 2nd against Georgia, November 9th at home, and we got the kickoff time today, 11 Central, 12 noon Eastern, against Ole Miss, Tennessee, and I'm sorry. They got Georgia in the cocktail party, Texas and Austin, LSU in Gainesville, then the Ole Miss game, and then the state championship game against FSU. Mere mortals all go 0-5 in that.
Yeah, they're not. That's a daunting slate, to say the least. I mean that LSU game, depending on how LSU's defense is, I understand it will be better because they've got better coaches, but they don't have the personnel according to
and that's the two most hated departments in the league against each other.
There's a lot of truth to that, and but they just don't have the players yet, according to their beat writers. LSU doesn't on defense, so so even more reason why Florida's got to really step up those first 5 games.
Today we got a big batch of TV news, and it makes sense with really having only one network, Disney, ESPN, to placate. It makes a lot of sense. We're still going to have some flex games, but we got some heads up on travel schedules. The league needed to do this for its customer, for its paying customer. What the fan, the customer, is already how they're being treated and subjected to, and the pricing to buy water and how outrageous it is, and then heaven forbid to buy a sandwich and eat something. It's outrageous out at the ballpark. This is the very least they could have done.
Well, and for Bryant, this is new, Bryant, that the league normally, Brad, if you remember, tell me, but I sure can't. I don't ever remember having this much detail in television schedules in June.
Never. Not in the TV age, and the TV age has been the last 40 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So that's why it's unusual for them to be coming out with this. Now, they would have come out with more of it during media days. But listen, it is almost unheard of to be at media days and basically know the majority of the television schedule.
Yeah, you're right. That is new, but I love it. I love having all these times in front of us. Talking to Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville. He joins us to talk college football. I'm curious, Brett and I discussed this a little bit yesterday, but there was a story over on CBSSports.com where it talked about ranking the college football second-year starting quarterbacks that could make a leap in 2024. And it does a bunch of tiers, but at the very end, it has 3 quarterbacks that it lists will absolutely, positively take a leap this season. It had Avery Johnson from Kansas State, Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma, and Nico from Tennessee. For you, in college football, maybe in the SEC, but just in college football in general, what couple of quarterbacks do you think could make a real jump this season?
I would kind of agree with Jackson Arnold. I think that's pretty logical there. My Stars guy, I mean, y'all live in this state. I mean, is there any way Nico can live up to this hype?
It feels like it's going to be tough.
He better be Peyton.
Yeah.
That's a high bar.
Very high.
It really is.
They hadn't had one since him.
No, absolutely not.
Tyler Bray never, and Jonathan Crompton never got confused for being Peyton Manning.
No, but no stretch of imagination. But that's what makes some, I think, fascinating discussion in the league. What would be, and look, you could actually throw Milroe in there. Milroe
sure
really didn't play hardly any. But it's going to be incumbent upon him to develop a short passing game and read the defenses better than he did this past season.
Yeah, with Milroe, I think the big thing is when he goes back to pass, you're not thinking he's either throwing the go route, and kind of shooting for the stars. He needs some of those little dinkers and dunkers.
That's what I mean. That's his problem is
introduce him to his tight end.
yeah. Well, and I think they've got some good tight ends this year who can be able to do. The Dupree kid comes back, also, so that will help them. But Brett's right. The problem for
everything was off the back foot and swinging for the downs in pass formation.
And he was either throwing it out of bounds or throwing it into the ground.
Or invariably, as a lot of scramblers early in their career do, you can't take the scramble out of them. Mm-hmm. When that first read wasn't there, he would cut and run and make a lot happen.
Yep.
He will, and he's very capable of doing that. And listen, and it's unusual to say this, but it's truth. He is more accurate at 50 yards than he is at 5 yards.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that he's got to work on and got to change.
Well, we saw it at Alabama with Walter Lewis early in his career was a lot like this. Brent Beard with us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. Every week we talk college football with him, but I'm going to ask you a college baseball question. The SEC has 4, the ACC they have 4. Bryant and I have decided there's 2 reasons why: sunshine and money.
Yep. Well, I don't think you can improve on that. I remember the days, guys, when now Georgia won the first national. Georgia won in '90, and that's when it kind of got moving over here. But my Stars, guys, I remember, before then, Cal State Fullerton and the teams out west were the Arizona.
Cal State Fullerton beat Arkansas in '79.
That's right. Those were teams that really were making hay in baseball, and we were really wondering, would the SEC ever be good in baseball?
USC, Arizona State, Cal State Fullerton, Arizona, Texas was really good. And Brent, I can remember I watched it, but I wasn't really taking it all in. When Dave Magadan in Alabama went deep in Omaha in 1983, but no coverage like it is now.
Oh, no. I remember Bama being in the championship game against Texas years ago. So
that was against Roger Clemens, wasn't it?
It was. It sure was. Wow. Absolutely. But listen, people are really shocked out here. And I don't use that lightly, that Florida has done what they have done. That they were giving up for dead about a month ago, and they've really persevered, beat Georgia to 2 out of 3, then just wanted to go home in the SEC tournament, and then winning at Oklahoma State, winning at Clemson. Look, there are people who argue, and I get it, that Kevin O'Sullivan may be the best coach Florida's got.
Oh, yeah. I think you can make a good argument about that. Wow. That's a really good point.
Did Scott hire him?
No, because Sullivan...
I should have known.
Sullivan's been there... I'll tell you how long he's been there. And this is he's 18-6 in super regional games. Now they haven't been the super regional every year, but they've come close.
Sure have, absolutely have. I'm curious what you think. Brett brought this up yesterday, and I loved kind of how he put it. But he said this Florida team kind of reminds him a lot of that Ole Miss team from a couple years ago. They get in, kind of last, 2 years ago, last team to get in. Florida kind of right
magic
there,
carpet ride,
and they just ride, and it really feels similar to what Florida's doing.
A difference is Ole Miss did not have a player like Caglione.
Right, yeah.
No. Cags, as they love to call him, is just unbelievable. He's got 73 home runs. The record is Laporta with 74, so he likely is going to be breaking that record. And again, Georgia needed a good effort. They'd have been 5. It'd have been 5-3 during that time too. But look, Kentucky's been marvelous. A&M is really good. Right, listen, A&M right now, the big 3 with Schlossnagel and with Buzz, and now with Elko, and I know Elko needs some seasoning. This is one of the better trios of coaches in the big 3. that they've had, and that I remember. Is that a fair statement?
It's very fair, Brent, and try this one on for size. When I mentioned the Big Three, I also like to expand it out and include athletics director.
Yeah.
And call it the Big Four. Now, with how things are changing, I thought we might be getting close to adding in who's in charge of the collective. But that's going to kind of equal out for everybody. But I like comparing around the league and around college sports to the Big Three moneymakers and your AD, football, basketball, baseball, and your AD. And do you have that house in order? Can you check those off?
I'd agree with that. Now, look, they're not the SEC, but watch out for this Florida State team.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good. Also,
we're kind of pulling for them.
Yeah.
I got the
To
former
break that
Notre
long
Dame.
schneid.
Oh yeah, I got that former Notre Dame coach who shocked Tennessee 2 years ago. Link Garrett has done a frankly a tremendous job for them. I think they've doubled their home run production this year compared to what they did last year.
I'll take it however it falls out, but I would have a little fun with Kentucky winning it, and here's why.
I agree.
Because it was this sports year, you could say the Kentucky baseball coach won as many as Cal did. And yes, I will, and I will enjoy it.
You will.
Yeah, that's really pretty funny. I agree with that. But look, it's a joy, frankly, to see this league really mature in baseball.
Yeah.
The way that they have now, they've done it. They've done it in basketball as of late, so we know what they can do.
But no hardware in basketball.
No,
they've
true.
improved, but
True.
it's still since 2012 in Cal getting his one at Kentucky since SEC's won it in basketball.
Yeah, and by the way, they're also pretty happy down here that Florida is the only school to have participants in World Series softball and baseball.
Well, they should be, and we've talked about coming soon. You can see softball being a moneymaker for one or two.
I agree with that. I agree with that. We have talked about this for a while. Now, look, I love baseball, but the reality is this softball stuff, Brian, is perfect for television.
Oh, yeah.
It sure is.
I mean, you're in and out. Help me, Brett. You're in and out in about 2 hours. Now, listen, they in this Gator Clemson extra inning game, I think that went on about 5.
And these SEC softball facilities, people wouldn't believe how nice they are.
True. Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you're coming down McFarland on your right and you see Alabama's softball stadium,
sure do.
You know you're in Titletown.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that. And they're able to put money in it, and they're getting dividends for them. So now, look, no one's knocking Oklahoma off right now, even though the Gators had them on the ropes with 6 outs to go, and could have beat them twice. But anyway, they proved to be the champions that they are. Now, Brian, just another thing. Brent and I said years ago, we were among many, that when the SEC network came to being, it wasn't going to help football that much, but the network would do wonders for baseball and softball, and you can also argue in basketball. So that's one thing. The network's not perfect, but it is really helped those two sports immeasurably.
Boy, it sure isn't perfect. Sunday morning was nothing but the cooking show.
Ooh.
Look, we need to get into that.
Gee whiz.
We need
Just
to
show
get
old
this
games.
schedule as the summer goes on.
Just show
I'll
old
try
games. Keep it simple.
I'll try to be nice here, but look, I love it. I'm glad it's there. I just wish, and I love to watch old games too, but I just wish that they could have some more ingenuity and variety
Nothing says SEC like John T. Edge, huh?
Isn't that the truth?
Jeez.
Well, Brent, as always, thanks so much
Thank you,
for
Brother
joining
Brent.
us. We'll talk to you again next week.
Good. Always enjoy it, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Brent Beard, with us from down in Jacksonville and in Omaha. Bryant, of those 4 first games, 2 are SEC versus ACC, and 2 are ACC versus ACC and SEC versus SEC. That's just how the bracket fell.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, I mentioned it earlier that Tennessee and Florida State.
Should they have rebracketed?
No, I don't think you change it.
I don't either. I'm not a rebracket guy.
No, I think it's fine, and it's going to be fun. You've got those 2 games, like you mentioned, Tennessee and Florida State, and then Kentucky and NC State, and, we'll see what happens with those, and then, who cares that you have an SEC versus SEC and an ACC versus ACC? Because let's be honest, if that happened in basketball, very good chance that could have happened in the basketball bracket, even though they try to avoid that. What are they going to do? Rebracket that? No, they're never going to do it.
It falls.
It does. And so we'll see what happens, but I'm definitely excited for Friday. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, it was not a ton of Major League Baseball last night, but some very interesting games, a good slate of games tonight as well. So when we come back, we're talking a ton of baseball.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better. I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot. Just like us. We're like the bag boys. What? Bag boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? For a deal you can count on, get on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Bag boys, bag boys. Participation may vary. Each choice of GBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4 piece nuts, junior fry, and small sausage. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Expanding your business, upgrading your equipment, or covering payroll, you can score big with SwishFunding.com, the slam dunk solution for your business funding needs. If you have at least $25,000 in monthly revenue and been in business for at least 1 year, qualifying's easier than a layup. We fund up to $5 million in 24 hours. Go to SwishRadio.com. That's SWISH radio.com. SwishRadio.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD is on the scene of a couple of accidents. TDOT's been busy with those help trucks out here in the last 15, 20 minutes assisting a couple of stalled vehicles. Yes, it's crowded over here right now. No surprise. On 240 East, as you make your way up past Poplar towards Walnut Grove, it's building out of the Midtown area. Traffic patterns are a little bit different now coming out of Midtown because of the 55 bridge. It's putting more pressure on I-40, or more volume, should I say, on the I-40 bridge there across the Hernando de Soto Bridge because of the 55 bridge that's closed. Weimer's Jewelry here in Memphis specializes in bridal ring purchases, and they have since 1984. These folks have the credibility. They know what they're doing. They'll help you. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk some baseball. We talked a little college baseball in our last segment with Brent, but I want to talk some Major League Baseball. But before we get to that, at the end of our last hour, right after we went to a break, some big news for the U.S. Open came out, and with Brent on, I wanted to wait and talk about it now, but Jon Rahm has withdrawn from the U.S. Open. He had suffered some sort of injury, a foot injury during the LIV competition last weekend in Houston. Had to take himself out of that event, and then it was questionable all the way leading up until today, where he officially withdrew. I don't know if any of us were thinking about taking Jon Rahm this weekend.
That might get the young man from Ole Miss in as the alternate.
It definitely might, and when we were talking about that with Jim, I definitely thought about the possibility of Jon Rahm withdrawing, but now it's official, and so that certainly means John, and maybe might be good for Jon Rahm. We were talking about it yesterday, Brett. Feels like every time he's back, he's moping around and not playing well, and
certainly not playing happy golf.
No, and so maybe I hate
happy
that he has
bank account.
It's certainly a happy bank account, but I hate that he's injured. But maybe it's good he's not around this week.
Go get good and well. Get to the Open Championship. That's. I think that will be a little more comfortable for him and the LIV questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and try to win there and have a big year.
Sure, and so I hate that he's injured, but
I don't think he should be a pariah. But John, hey John, you took the cash.
Yeah, I mean at the end of the day,
don't be mad at us.
No, I mean it was a decision that
right now you can't have it both ways. It looks like you're going to be able to in a few years.
Sure.
That you could take the LIV money without any serious penalty because the Public Investment Fund is going to own the tour.
Yeah, but right now not the case.
But for now,
and we've seen a lot of other golfers that
so many people want it both ways, and for now you can't get it that way. You might in a few years.
Sure, but I think the weird thing right now is it seems like there are some golfers out there that it hasn't affected them to the extent of Jon Rahm. And I do think a lot of that is, what was it? Was it the Masters where we were talking, where he kind of had those comments where he was saying that he thought
that he wanted it both ways,
the guy that could bring resolution together, and we kind of said, do we believe him? I 100% believe him that he thought he could be kind of the change.
I think he thought he could.
Yeah, certainly, and I think that's all that matters when it comes to kind of how he goes
but
about
he couldn't.
it. He couldn't, and it's going to be
Tiger's comments today. They're in the same room talking, but there's not a lot being advanced.
No, and it feels like that's kind of been the thing for a while now. And it seems like it's always kind of that build-up of something's going to happen, and nothing does.
I think for the PGA Tour and the PGA Tour Policy Board, loyalists to the tour, like Tiger has been,
of course,
like Rory McIlroy tried to be. Rory wants everybody to like him, though, and that's how you get everybody not liking you.
Yeah.
I don't think they can fully accept that we're buying you. We're getting ready to run the tour.
Sure, yeah. well, and that's something you gotta come to terms with, Brett. I mean,
and all these tour stops, I don't know which ones. I'm not wishing it for any town,
right,
for any tournament director, any charity involved in these other towns. But I think people are horribly naive if you think going forward. Let's just look at the next few weeks. In 3 years from now, do you really think after the U.S. Open that we're going to go back-to-back weeks to the Travelers in Connecticut and to the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit?
No. One of them's gone.
One of them's gone.
Yeah.
One of those weeks will be more international.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be as far-flung as playing in Singapore.
I almost just said Singapore. That is crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, and if you don't think that's going to happen, there's no way going forward you're going to go to the Travelers, Rocket Mortgage, and the John Deere in Silvis, Illinois.
No chance. It's just not going to happen. I mean,
one, if not two of those three, it's eliminated.
Yep.
We may even have off weeks
I wouldn't be surprised.
Recoup from the travel from far-flung places.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you kind of talk about going internationally and coming back. I wouldn't be surprised with that. I mean, heck, look at, and I know I don't think you want anything to kind of be the playbook of Live Golf, but right now, I mean, Live, they're going all across the world, different stops everywhere, and they don't play back-to-back weeks. Very rarely. I think there's like one time on the calendar where they play back-to-back weeks, but it's very spaced out, and there's off weeks, and I'm certainly not saying you'll have that many off weeks, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if you go internationally somewhere and then come back for a tournament, and there's a nice cushy off week in between.
Here's a better example. So, Players' Championship in March.
Okay.
We're going to keep that.
Of course.
At the mothership. They're going to keep it. They're going to put on good manners.
For sure.
Still have it there. The following week, the Valspar. Then tournament stop in Houston. Then San Antonio before the Masters. No way.
Chance.
One of those would definitely be international.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Especially lead up to
might
the
be in
Masters.
Mexico.
Sure. Yeah, maybe not far internationally.
And we got a PGA Tour stop now in Mexico.
Of course, yeah. So, I mean, I think when you say international, you don't mean, like you said, Singapore, other side of the world. I mean, it could be very easily England or, just
not
somewhere
Time
over
Machine
there.
International.
No. We don't need the beam machine to
we don't need to break it out.
No. Just somewhere nice. And
we keep it handy, though. It's greased up, ready to go.
Hey, I mean, you got to always. If you don't, I mean, you're sorely mistaken.
Brian, I know we were going to talk baseball,
yeah.
and I'm not ready. I'm going to tease it a little bit for a few weeks.
All right.
I'm going to tease you and Rob Fisher tomorrow with this.
Oh, jeez.
I have the perfect replacement for manager of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, no, you don't.
I do.
Oh, man.
I mean perfect.
But you're not going to tell me.
I'm going to wait a few weeks before releasing.
Is this a sitting manager?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Sitting manager right now in major leagues?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
I've got the perfect hire.
Okay.
The Cardinals, they tried the zero experience, and I was all for it. I can't run from Mike Matheny. I can't do it.
Okay.
I thought it would. We were on the coming out of the the high of winning in 2011. LaRussa retiring.
Sure.
I was all for it. It categorically didn't work. If the Cardinals had hired Terry Francona and he wanted it badly, the Cardinals would have won at least one more, if not two.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see who this is. I'm excited now, and I'm just going to be going through. That's going to be like my homework for the next couple of weeks.
But the Cardinals tried that. They tried the organizational guy in Mike Schilt.
Yeah.
They've tried it with Ollie Marmol.
Another kind of
time to be
organizational
bold.
guy, a yes man, if you will, kind of Ollie. But
and this person may not be John Mozeliak hiring him. He could be after the full broom.
Sure, yeah, that's interesting. All right, that's gonna be my homework for the next week or so. I'm gonna just try to get a list and see if I can pinpoint who I think your perfect replacement will be.
You don't have a chance of coming up with it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But hey, maybe we'll figure it out. I'm excited. I'm sure Rob will love that as well when you pitch that to him tomorrow. But Only, not even really a pitch. It's just kind of, a tease, I guess you should say. How much Major League Baseball did you catch last night? Limited slate. How much did you watch?
A good bit.
Okay.
A lot.
Well, yeah. Not a ton on
Was
last night.
Rob reminded me about the hockey.
Yeah,
so I got to my Panthers.
Well, that's the thing. Last night, if you're
I had
not
to
a
be
hockey
reminded
guy,
about my Panthers.
well, and that's the thing. If you're not a hockey person, you forget about it. It's on. And last night, Major League Baseball and the college baseball game, really the only two things on. So, yeah, I watched a lot of baseball last night. Did you catch any of the Mariners game last night?
Some late and saw the hero.
Yeah.
The poorly nicknamed.
Big Dumper. Dump. I mean,
Bad visual.
Well, it's
really bad.
Good nickname though. I mean, it plays as a good nickname.
Brian, did you see the White Sox post? Did y'all see the White Sox post game and Ozzie Guillen? Man, he was devastated.
Okay, so here's the thing. I like the Mariners. I'm a Mariners guy, so I watched the game on the Mariners stream, and then when the game was over, I tried to flip over to the White Sox broadcast because I wanted to watch Ozzie and see his, because I knew it was going to be a bad reaction, and I tried to flip it over there, and MLB.TV would not let me watch White Sox postgame. And I don't know because there's some teams that don't carry there, because you have to, basically, like any streaming is, you have to funnel it through from your local broadcast. Some teams just stop it every single game after the game is over. They don't do pregame, postgame. Yeah, it's very, very strange. At least I don't know that for a fact, but
they get out really quick when you have the multi-channels up on MLB Network, but you have to go to that.
Okay, so
that carrier.
Yeah. See, from what I've taken, I don't know this for a fact, but what I've pieced together is there are some teams that show post game. Seattle, I watch their post games a lot of games. But there's some teams that, from what I've noticed, just don't do it. And I believe the White Sox are one of those teams, or maybe they just have gotten used to these games where, and Brett, I'll be honest, I got on it again last night. I mean, 4-1, bases loaded. You give me the Mariners at plus money. What am I supposed to do? I mean, am I supposed to sit on my hands? I just can't.
Take them.
I mean, I got to take them. I think maybe they've gotten so
It's not everything, but we like money.
Who doesn't like money? But yeah.
Again, it's all MLG and W takes.
That's right. So you got to have it. And but yeah, I could not watch
the other day, I went to buy gas and went up to the person to prepay. And I said, I don't really have the money. I'm a decent fella, though, and you got a nice place here. And surprisingly, they didn't give me any.
That's weird. You'd think they'd be nicer than that, Brett, but I guess not.
Yeah, no, you got to prepay.
Yeah, well, that is it's money. It makes the world go round.
I was kidding about that. A place I did go last night, and I forget too many times not to talk about it as a dinner time spot, is at nighttime spot, and that's any of the Jason's Delis in our area. Whatever location you're in, wherever you are, you're near a Jason's Deli, one at Ridgeway Road across from MUS. I was there last night, saw a person there, and he said, "I've never seen you in here at this time." I said, "Guess what? I've never seen you in here at this time either." I was there last night, the one over by the U of M at Poplar and Highland, right there at Highland and Poplar before you get to the U of M, Olive Branch, and Cordova, a location near you. And last night I was there. The crowd was great. Food's great at night, just like it is at breakfast and at lunchtime, and it's healthy. It's good for you. First franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. It's all about choice. Whether you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, you'll be delighted at Jason's Deli. All those salads off the menu that you can order, like the taco salad I got last night for dinner, the Big Chef salad, the Mesa chicken salad, that great salad bar in all these locations. Over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare it however you'd like. Catering, anytime, anywhere, 5 or 5,000. They have you covered. And in all these locations, like at Ridgeway Road, down in Cordova, down in Olive Branch, out in Cordova, over by the U of M at Poplar and Highland, complimentary free ice cream on these warmer summer days. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Well, we need to get to a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many. Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Right now at Genesis Diamonds, we're always giving relief to our customers with refinancing and designer engagement ring with that luxury pre-owned Rolex and spread your payments over 5 whole years without paying a dime in interest. Today's anniversary is just $45 and that's with zero down. Now through June and only at Genesis Diamonds. That's extended credit system.
Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. There's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, we've talked a lot of college baseball today with Omaha Field being set last night with that win by NC State over Georgia. So my big number is a year, 1999. It's very short and sweet. Big number today, but Tennessee, we've talked a lot about them, obviously representing our state in Omaha, and a lot of fans in this area of the Vols, but they're trying to do something that has not been done in a really long time. We've talked about those bats. They've been really good offensively, one of the most potent offenses in college baseball right now, but it's the pitching staff that I think you have some concerns about, that you want to see a lot and could be the key for them.
Especially in Omaha.
For sure.
That ballpark will play differently than any park they've played in all year.
You're absolutely right. And
it's the candlestick of college baseball.
Sure,
no flag flies in the same direction.
No. Everywhere. And that's a great point. And so I think pitching is going to be important for Tennessee in this week and this weekend. But my big number, Tennessee enters Omaha as the number 1 seed. So my big number is not the number 1. It is 1999. That is the last time a number 1 overall seed won the national championship in college baseball. It was Miami that did it in 1999. Now Tennessee will look to do the same, but it's not going to be easy. A lot of SEC teams in here that have certainly seen Tennessee this year, maybe even a couple of times, kind of know what to expect. And also these ACC teams, I've already mentioned it, this first matchup against Florida State, I think is going to be very interesting, so it'll be fun. But I think they've got a good chance to do what Miami did in 1999.
I'll wave the SEC banner, but sure. I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep if they don't win. and not going to be overjoyed and go out and break into a fight song if they were to win. I would be fine if Florida State really did finally in this curse.
I'd be completely fine with that. And I think you mentioned earlier, if I had to pick a team to root for going forward, it's Florida State for me.
North Carolina get there first.
That'd be fine. I'd be fine with
I
that.
don't spend a whole lot of time feeling too sorry for North Carolina because they got a really full trophy case from basketball.
They're not lacking. They're not just trying to get one to put something up. They've got them. But no, I'd be fine if North Carolina won.
But if A&M did, fine. Any of that. Tennessee, I'm kind of for Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Kind of. No, I am for Tennessee.
Look, I'd be fine if Tennessee wins.
They feel like it's your turn.
Sure.
It feels like it's of the teams that are in Omaha. Yeah. It feels like it's their turn.
It does, and it feels like they have been one of the teams all season long that has been up there, a really good team, very consistent. Maybe first month or so, kind of felt like they were trying to get everything together, but certainly as of late have been really dominant, and I could definitely see them
in the SEC. It's Arkansas, but they didn't get there because they played a pitcher. He was throwing it too slow.
That's right. And
crafty, too slow thrower.
Can't have that, Brett. At the biggest
that really
stage.
flummoxed.
You gotta have everybody
that's
out there
the topper
throwing
excuse
90.
all time from the hometown announcer, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Said it seriously, Brian. I mean, it was he's throwing it too slow. They can't catch up. They can't figure it out. It's too slow.
Yeah, that might be all time quotes from a game.
It really is.
Slow.
My big number is 5 in 2005 at Pinehurst number 2. An unknown Michael Campbell won the U.S. Open. After that, since he won that tournament, he's only made the cut in 5 majors. Everybody's kind of got that anonymous winner. Augusta National had it a few years ago with Danny Willett.
Sure.
I like to kid every year at PGA time about Dow Finsterwald. The Open Championship had Ben Curtis, but Michael Campbell has been in golf witness protection program since winning at Pinehurst number 2 in 2005.
Oh man, yeah, that is tough. Because
I don't know if he's played in a 4-man scramble and won anything since.
Oh man, that's not good. That's no bueno.
Never mind winning, making the cut. I think he won a World Golf event right at that same summer in 2005. But in majors, he's only made 5 cuts.
Yeah. Wow.
Since winning the 2005 U.S. Open.
Wow, that is I hate that for him, but that's incredible. That's hard to do.
But he got that one.
Sure, and that's great. I mean, there's a lot of people that can't say that, I mean,
there are a lot of great players. Peter Jacobson would trade. Poor Scott Hoke would trade.
That's like one of those all-timer questions of would you trade a win for
Kenny Perry would trade.
Yeah, for, not having really any success after that. And I think there are a lot of people that would trade that. I certainly would. I'm not in the same category as those guys.
Xander Schauffele got it off of him. I wonder who is the best player right now to not win a major. It's
a good question because it was. I mean, Xander was the easy answer for a long
was.
time.
That moved him out.
It sure did, and got that off, which was
We'll
nice
ask John Goin that tomorrow.
We will, and Brett, every time I have to think about golf picks on Wednesday, I fear what
First
might
tee
happen.
jitters.
And not even that. It's just I'm worried about this relationship we've got going with John. I mean, it gets so ugly.
Well, it usually all ends well because he wins.
But lately, I mean,
But now you're in
witness
first.
Protection. I mean, hard looking up. And that's what John's gonna have to do now. Look up at the top.
Not picking last tomorrow.
I don't know.
It couldn't have worked out better for me last week.
Well,
I'm behind, but it's not by
sure,
billions.
Sure.
And get to go first and get Scotty in the year of Scotty.
I mean,
I'll be stunned if he doesn't win.
At this, which is crazy to say. That is an absurd thing to say about a individual golfer at a major. But you're right. I mean, at this point, I think the odds are better. I think the odds are bigger that he doesn't win than winning it, which is crazy.
Good buddy of mine says Patrick Cantlay's now best
that's
player.
That's a good one.
That is a really good one. They can cap on in the offseason for a friend of mine.
How about that? I love that. Sometimes you got to have that.
What about Victor Hovland?
Real good, but I don't know that he's had the scar tissue yet. You got to have a little scar tissue, but he's in there, Leodwin.
Yeah.
And this could be his week.
It could be. It definitely could be. So we'll see. I'm excited for golf picks tomorrow. I want to hear who your shock is, Brett. I'm very, very interested to see who you pull off the board.
He has a major. Because of Liv, I'm gonna get a major player.
Wow. Hey, you can have DJ. Look, if you want Dustin Johnson, by all means, Brett, you can have him. I mean,
he's not motivated.
I was the fool that did that a couple weeks ago when I couldn't get a list together.
Life's real good for Dustin Johnson.
I don't think real good for Dustin Johnson.
Real good.
That's a life. Talking about trading, I'd trade. Dustin, you want to trade? I'll trade.
So being out at parties, Yogi Berra, 10-time World Series winner.
Sure.
Beat Hitler on D-Day.
That's pretty good.
Top that. Hey, how you doing? What was the one we had yesterday?
Oh, what was the one? I don't even remember.
But how about DJ Johnson? Can I introduce you to my father-in-law?
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, hey.
Let me introduce you to my father-in-law.
I would love to be like at an event where someone is like talking to Dustin Johnson. They don't know that Wayne Gretzky, and then
Wayne, what do you do for a living?
You know Wayne Gretzky? And he's like, yeah, it's my father-in-law. I mean, yeah, I would 100% trade with Dustin Johnson any day of the week. But it should be fun this weekend at the U.S. Open. I'm excited, but we know kind of how the U.S. Open is. It's going to be a struggle for a lot of those golfers out there. But let's go ahead and get to a break, wrap up our second hour. And when we come back for our third and final hour, we're talking NFL with Bo Marchant.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding and a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call CraigGranger.com or just stop by. Granger, always get it done.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall pool bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes or special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Upper Highland, Germantown Road in Casey's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill and I buy houses.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Carrying a heavy volume of traffic over here on 240 East coming past Perkins. Some of this traffic is getting off onto 385, but it's pretty slow over here now on 240 East as you work your way up towards Poplar, Walnut Grove. It's now really scrambling in the Midtown area, but a lot of this is because of the bridge that's closed there, the 55 bridge. It's a heavy volume of traffic on 240 South from South Parkway down to Norris. Weimer's Jewelry here in Memphis specializes in bridal ring purchases. They have since 1984. Go by and see them and shop local and save at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic. Good afternoon. Carrying a heavy volume of traffic.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk the NFL on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Bo Marchant joins us now. Bo, thanks so much for joining us. Got to start with the big news in your area. We talked about it a little bit to open the show, but Mike Tomlin and the Steelers agreed to a 3-year contract extension through 2027. What did you make of that? And we were kind of talking about it. It doesn't feel like he can, struggle this season with this extension, but if he has success, another year is going to be tacked onto that pretty quickly, I'm sure. What did you make of them extending Mike Tomlin?
I wasn't surprised, just because of the long-term relationship and the way the Steelers do things and the way Tomlin has kind of established himself in the league. So, I thought it was a welcome 3-year extension. I know I'm actually down on the south side of Pittsburgh right now, and, it's a good vibe, and he fits the mold. And as new faces start to come and these players kind of all recognize what Tomlin brings, and there's very few coaches in the league where, guys want to play for that coach, or, word resonates throughout the league that you want to be here because of that man. And that's the kind of clout that he carries. And that's one of the reasons why they extended him. We all know that the franchise, they're chasing number 7. TJ Watt talked about, the lack of playoff wins and how that kind of, he just said plain and simply, it sucks. And he said it several times today after minicamp that, it sucks not being able to win some playoff games. And that's definitely something that him and the team, along with Tomlin, definitely want to turn around moving forward.
And Bo, it's been a while since the Steelers made noise in the playoffs.
Oh, you're talking 8 or 9 years. It's been a while.
That's forever for them.
Yeah, and they had I think it was the COVID year, maybe not the COVID year, but whatever year where they were 12-0, and we all knew they weren't a perfect team up to that point. And then they kind of came to earth down the stretch. They lost in the first round to the Cleveland Browns at the time at Heinz Field, and it was a one and done, and you're gone. And nonetheless, to a Baker Mayfield left division foe in Cleveland, it just really, I think that loss, it didn't set them back, but it really was egg on their face to have that type of year and then to lose like that at home to a despised opponent like Cleveland. I think that kind of really dug the knife in a little bit more, the thorns in your side, if you will. If it was any other team, it might have not had that lingering effect. But I think now looking at it, it might have helped them kind of change the way they're doing things and kind of fast track. And you see Omar Khan, the big moves he's made. A lot of talk down here is, he will not be afraid to pull the trigger on one of these veteran receivers that are holding out. If it comes to that, before the old way of doing things, you would have thought it was unheard of to think of. But now with Omar Khan and this new way of thinking, you definitely have to say the Steelers could be a player, in the realm of adding a significant piece at that number 2 spot behind George Pickens.
Could it be, Bo, that this move today, the contract news today, was a preemptive move in what could be a struggling year to not have all the questions in December where you can just go out there and go, we just signed a new deal in June. He's not going anywhere.
That's a great point, Brett. That's a great point. It does eliminate that. Here in the city, or at least covering the team, even the outside noise when he's under the gun. And, I have enough friends and I know enough people just living in the area. There's going to be people who are unsatisfied with the way he's done things, or they blame him for the lack of wins and whatnot. But when you break it down, there's a reason why he got a 3-year extension. They also know if you didn't extend him and you allowed him to hit the market, he'd be signed the next day. He's not going to end up like a Belichick who's kind of, he has too much clout and wants too much demand. That's not Tomlin. Tomlin would have found a home easily, and they secured him. But as you mentioned, that's a great point. It's one less distraction. It's one less thing for us to talk about. Now you can just kind of focus on the team, the internal on-field things, and things of that nature. But right now, there's a good vibe. It's all going to go around Russell Wilson. It's all going to be around, right now, Tomlin said he's in pole position. So if something changes during Latrobe, Arthur Smith said that as well. He kind of backed up what Tomlin said today. Russell is in pole position, but there's a competition, and if something changes in the dog days of summer when we're in Latrobe, then it'll come to that. But right now, it's a good vibe. And hey, guys, first day of minicamp in Pittsburgh. It's a beautiful sunny day. I'm talking to you guys. It's for me. It's just perfect.
And Bo, I've said so many times, the first thing I love about sports is the competition. I'm bigger and badder and faster and better than you. I love that. Then I love the emotion, but what wraps it up is the ultimate meritocracy that it is. We keep a record book and we keep a history book, and we can go check and see. And in 80 years, if we go back and look at the 2024 Pittsburgh Steelers and they're 4-13, then we know that wasn't a good year. It is the ultimate meritocracy. The scoreboard and the record books do not lie.
No, they don't. In this particular year, we were talking about it as we were standing on the sidelines today. Every year brings some excitement for whatever reason. That's why I love it. It's a rebirth for everybody. All 32 teams have aspirations of hoisting the Lombardi, and it's no different here on the South Side. But you got Russell, you got Justin Fields, and it hit me today. I think, regardless, unless they regress tremendously, and I thought Russell played great last year, but with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, even if they match what they did last year, I still think they're better off than what they had in Kenny Pickett last year. Kenny Pickett was not the answer. There's a reason why they elected to move on from him, because he was not the answer. But I think an athletic type, Justin Fields, could serve them better, and I think the veteran presence of a Russell Wilson could serve them better. So and I'm not saying they're a perennial, Super Bowl favorite now with that, but I just think if they're a 10-7 season, the way they played, I do think it just ups them just a little bit, where they're that much better of a football team. So it's a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation, whatever. And that's across the landscape of the National Football League right now. But I just think the Steelers are definitely in a better place. I think Tomlin, I can't speak for him, but my mindset is he has to go to bed so much better each night knowing that he has a Super Bowl veteran quarterback on the roster right now, not than going into a third year with Kenny Pickett where you really didn't see a lot of development.
Over the weekend, Darren Waller announced his retirement from the NFL. And obviously could come back and return to the NFL. But if this is the end for Darren Waller, how will his career be remembered?
If you watched him closely, I think you got to look at his days in Baltimore when he was an unknown.
Yeah.
And then he kind of come out of nowhere. And, we know his substance abuse things that he was able to conquer. So props to that. I think
sure.
that for and foremost, was a life change for him to just, be able to continue and live a healthy lifestyle is the most important thing. And, he decided to call it quits, and his body started to break down. He's in his 30s, and we know when he was healthy, he was a focal point. He could be he could be one of the best tight ends in the league on that given Sunday. But the body didn't hold up, and at least he got to walk away on his own terms. So, is he a Hall of Famer? No, he's not. No. But was he a good football player for the last 10 years? Absolutely. You could probably say he's a top 10 tight end. That's the top of my head. I'm sure if we start breaking down guys and people start thinking of every single tight end that's played in the last decade. But, he was a valuable piece, and that's why the Giants gave up a third-round pick last year. At 30-some years old, the Giants still elected to give up a third-round pick. Now, it looks bad right now, but as Brett said earlier, you look back at the record book or things you did, everything's always kind of categorized and documented. But at the point, it didn't look like a bad move. You're trying to improve an offense. You're coming off a playoff season in New York. Daniel Jones looks improved. You're bringing this, all-pro caliber tight end. And, it didn't work out. He was able to stay healthy, and now he's retired. But I just hope his lifestyle is able to remain, he's kosher with his substance, and he's good, and he just lives a long, happy, healthy life.
Bo, in 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after that, we will start with our first quarterback rankings. We will start with the easiest, I think, in the world. We'll start with the AFC West. Let's talk AFC South. If at the end Trevor Lawrence retires from the NFL and Joe Burrow retires from the NFL with a grand total of 0 Super Bowls combined, will you be shocked?
No, I won't be. It's hard. Brett, Dan Marino,
right.
Phillip Rivers, there's Matt Ryan.
Dan
Fouts.
Hard.
Dan Fouts. I mean, we could go on. It's hard to get there. And Joe Burrow, you could kind of say the same thing with Joe Burrow and Dan Marino. Dan Marino got there the second year of his NFL career, and, he'd be the first one to tell you, like, okay, this wasn't that bad. Well, we'll get back next year.
I'll be back 5 more times. Yeah,
and it doesn't happen. I wouldn't be shocked. I do think Burrow, though, as long as he can remain healthy, and that's a big if, because, these injuries, you've got to get those corrected, or it's going to sour quick in Cincinnati. But I think he is special. I mean, I'm talking Mahomes-type special. If he can stay healthy, I think Cincinnati's going to be a player. And even the last time the two teams played, I forget who made the penalty on Mahomes with Mahomes going out of bounds, but Cincinnati was winning that game. They were going to another Super Bowl. So, it's one of them strange things where, things, they work out the way they do. But you got to pick past Mahomes right now. I mean, going on, a three-peat if they win it again. But I think Burrow definitely, Lawrence, Jacksonville, that I think is more of a stretch. I just don't see it. But, I mean, these are long careers. Things can change quickly.
But he can't miss.
Well, yeah, they're all can't miss. And that's that's what you kind of learn as time goes on is, when Trevor Lawrence, his tape, and they talked about the way he was in high school, he was a generational, like beyond a generational. He made Andrew Luck look like, he wasn't even part of the conversation. But it takes a lot. And this is not to say Trevor Lawrence can't become that next guy. It's not to say that. But at this point, he's had his time. Jacksonville has done some things. He just hasn't shown that, and we all see it. I always like to say it's just, you see it. When you see it, you know it. And I just think at the professional level, when I see Trevor Lawrence, I just don't see that Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I see more of a Matt Ryan or a Phillip Rivers. Now, is that bad? No, because people say those guys are going to the Hall of Fame anyway. So, I just don't see that. And I wouldn't even put Phillip Rivers in. I think Phillip Rivers was a better quarterback, but I just think Trevor Lawrence is just a notch below the supreme beings of the quarterback position that we currently know in the league.
Yeah. So you mentioned Kansas City, and their tight end Travis Kelce spoke to reporters today and said that he plans to play, quote, until the wheels fall off. For him, we kind of had that discussion. Those rumors were kind of floating around, the idea that maybe after last season he could call it quits, but he turns 35 in October. How long do you think until those wheels fall off for Travis Kelce?
Well, I mean, they extended him 2 more years, so we'll see if he can make it till age 37. and we'll see if he can make it this next season. It's at this point, it's a quick fall off. We saw it with Peyton Manning, where you go into the season, and by the time the season ended, he couldn't throw the ball against the wall. So you hope Kelsey's able to kind of maintain that level and be consistent, and we'll go from there. But from this point on, it's anyone's guess. Do I expect a good year out of this year? I do. But, once the wear and tear and the added body and all those things that come into it, a 17-game season, we'll see. I love him. I'm a big Travis Kelce guy. Sure. I actually screenshotted that thing and sent it to my wife because I'm a big Kelce guy. So, I said it to her, and I said, hey, he's going to play till the wheels fall off. So I was glad to see that. But nonetheless, you talk about a fantastic presence for the Chiefs. And, when Mahomes went down a few years ago and he missed time, I thought he was the MVP of that team. I mean, he was the consistent constant of that offense. And, and at that point, everybody was praising George Kittle. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, are people watching? The Chiefs are Mahomeless, and Travis Kelce is the glue to this offense. He's the key ingredient why they're surviving. And I just thought that kind of got thrown by the wayside. But nonetheless, we'll see, Brad. Just 2 years. If he makes it 2 years at a high level, I think he would be very, very fortunate. I really do. And that's not to say, he's going to crumble this year, but I just think 2 years going into 37, there's just a lot of wear and tear for the tight end position.
When you talk about greatest of all time at tight ends, and I think a strong case can be made right now for Travis Kelce. If he never played another down, he's just filling in the back of the football card right now. Just to say you're the best tight end in Kansas City Chiefs history encompasses Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's sad when you think of Gonzalez and Kelce, and Chiefs fans or any fan can argue which one is the best of the two. And that's the one thing is sometimes we do get caught up in rings and how many rings they have, especially at quarterback. But I think for Tony Gonzalez or Travis Kelce, listen, if you were to throw Kelce in with who I forget who was playing quarterback back then, but if you would have thrown Tony Gonzalez in with Patrick Mahomes, you would have had the rings for Tony, absent of what Travis, has now. So I think
that was some Elvis Gerback years thrown in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's some strange ones. Elvis Gerback. I mean, I don't know if Montana was there with the Chiefs with Gonzalez.
Might have some Steve Bono in there.
Yeah, a lot of names. Chiefs fans, they're like probably whipping them off right now because they know the franchise in and out. But you talk about, two legendary type things. But I guess you could say with the Steelers, you got, Pouncey, you got Webster, and, you got some, so it's one of them things. It's good to have greatness. And that's the fun part. You get to argue or debate it. And none of us are right. It's just fun to think we're right.
See, here's a guy, and ringless really hurts him. And Brian, I promise you, I'm not trying to needle you.
No, it's okay.
But I would argue Jason Witten right in that conversation.
You love Witt.
Yeah, definitely. He is. I mean, we know he's a Hall of Famer without a doubt. But it does, sting that he doesn't have one. But again, it goes back to the, Tony Romo's never going to have one. Phillip Rivers is never going to have one. Witten's never going to have one. Kellen Winslow Sr. is never going to have one. Ozzie Newsome, as a player, never going to have one.
Jimmy Graham? Was Graham with the Saints when they got it? I don't think so.
Yeah, right. It's one of the it's part of the game. It's just, what it is. You just think when you have a Hall of Fame career that kind of coincides with winning a Super Bowl. But sometimes, Eric Dickerson never even got the opportunity to play in one. So, sometimes it eludes you. Walter Payton, one opportunity.
Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, Ozzie Newsome. So it's there. It's all these guys. And, wow, I mean, if we went down the list of great players that never got to, taste that sweetest victory in football, we could probably be on the air for the next 18 hours.
Just that all-star team would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could probably find guys where you could argue, they could beat the All-Star team.
You give me Marino at quarterback, Eric Dickerson at tailback, and you can throw it to Ozzie Newsome. I got a shot.
Sure, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, you throw Randy Moss in there, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
That is a good group.
Right? Yeah, who do you got? We got Dickerson, Marino, and Randy Moss, and Newsome.
Let's play.
Right? I mean,
I'll
you want to play?
That's
I tell you what, you will not feel like you're going to be outclassed. I know that.
give me Will Shields in my offensive line when he was with the Chiefs and they didn't win one.
Yeah. Yeah, think about the greatness of Will Shields, and he was part of that Gonzalez crew. Yeah, so many great ones that never had the chance to win it all, but that's the way of the league.
And we're building to it, Bo, and I know it's one of your favorite times of the year when you go to Canton and you're there for Hall of Fame week of festivities, and it's a long week now. They have something just about every day there now, and we celebrate the sport. And I love this about the Football Hall of Fame. Now, naturally, more players than a baseball roster, but I just don't get that arrogance from the football voter that they're trying to put somebody into the pearly gates of heaven. I like that we have big classes and big numbers going into Canton. I wish they would get bigger.
Yeah, it's a tricky. It's such a big week now. And we know the teams that come in and the fan bases, those teams will play in the game. And, when you think of the game, there's never going to be just, say, a Jim Brown or a Barry Sanders. I mean, those are, like Deion Sanders said, there is another tier. And then, we could talk about all the great ones, but there are guys who just stand out above the rest. Your Muhammad Ali, there's other heavyweight champions, but he could be the champion of champions. It's one of those things where greatness does resonate a little bit amongst the Hall of Fame. No matter how good you are, there is a different caliber. It's fun to see the different guys. I like I forget the name of it, but the awards they give to like the contributors now, I think that's what it's called. But I think that, like seeing Ron Wolf inducted for his contributions to the league, I love that aspect of it.
The famous Steeler scout.
Yep, Devin Hester getting in, them starting to show a little diversity in terms of, it's just not a skill position. You can say, hey, this guy was the best punt returner. Let's get him in. In terms of I think Brett Musburger, when they give the award, I think he should get in there. I know they do the communication type thing. Right. How he hasn't got in yet. You think of CBS and football and NFL and not to have Brett Musburger in yet. To me, it's a little of a little egg on the hall and the voters.
Now, even for Canton, Bo, just like for Cooperstown, they honor the media wing, but they don't have a bus. They're not in the Hall of Fame. They have been honored by the Hall of Fame.
No, they're not.
Because I love Brett Musburger, but he doesn't go in before somebody that sweat and bled.
Oh, no. But I know I think Joe Buck received it already. I'm trying to think of some of the other.
And should.
And he should, but I just think the longevity of Musburger, and I'm sure there's plenty of others we can mention. There's so many important people that have helped, make the game we love that much better. And the Hall of Fame, listen, if you haven't been there, you will never realize the makeover that's going on. And I'm sure right now the Bulldozers, I mean, I passed, was it 70? I was on 77 going to somewhere about a month ago. And when I passed it, even from last year, I was blown away by how much has already changed until the last time.
It's a city.
It is. It's and you sit up in the press box and you used to just stare at like houses. Now you stare out and you see a Shola Steakhouse and you see all these media tents where all the Hall of Famers sign autographs afterwards. And it was I don't know how much time we have, but real quick, last year we left the game and there's some people from San Antonio ESPN that I talked with, and they were up there and they were going to get some Drew Pearson stuff. They knew Drew Pearson. And we walked back, and I go, Jan Stenerud got to be one of my favorite players of all time. And they go get his autograph. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, man, you're going to regret it. But I did. I had nothing for him to sign. The only thing I had on me was my credential, my Hall of Fame credential. So I paid my $30-some bucks, and not that Jan Stenerud gave too much, but he cared too much. But I said, Jan, listen. Yeah, one of my absolute favorite players, as we all do as a fan. And I said, this is all I got for you to sign. And he signed my credential. Now, though, when I look back at it, to have my own little face and my name and then Jan Stenerud's thing, nice. You told me now as a young kid that I'd be covering the NFL and going to the Hall of Fame and getting an autograph by Jan Stenerud. I'd have signed up for that, Brett. Instead, I'd call it a day right there.
Better believe it.
Absolutely. Well, Bo, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Yep. Stay safe, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you, Bo. Oh, that's good stuff. Jan Stenerud with the Kansas City Chiefs, and What a special story. That was good.
Yeah, no, that was really good. And, I mean, certainly a memory. And when you put it like that, you know, your name on a credential covering the NFL in Canton and have a legend like that sign it, I mean, that's awesome.
Yep, Brian, I love that these people are, and they should be. Let me be very clear.
Sure.
Listen to me in clear English.
Yes.
The media types, the contributors, and the contributors do have a bust.
Sure.
But the media types, they should be honored for helping, as Bo said, tell the story of the league. But I think we've gone a little heavy with some of the contributors, special people through the years, and media, because like in both places, they're in. I mean, when you say Joe Buck or Jack Buck, he's in the Hall of Fame.
For sure.
He doesn't have a bust. He's been honored with the Ford Frick Award by the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I think it's mostly people being really nice to say, you know, the Hall of Famer. He's not in the same Hall of Fame that Lou Brock and Bob Gibson's in.
Right. Yes, different. And I'm with you. I think those, you know, the greats in the media need to be honored like that. But like you said, I mean, you need to honor the ones that were out there, you know, bleeding and sweating for the game before you worry about the media type.
They certainly helped enhance and make people and, you know, immortalize, you know, people from the sport.
For sure.
But that fella that sweat and bled and went to that scores table one time deserves to be in over somebody with a notepad.
Oh, for sure. And I think they'll think that as well. They would agree with that as well. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
We are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toe boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nevo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Times Ranch jeans. At Hewitt & Dunn, we have a great selection of old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic approved shoes. Hewitt & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewitt & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewitt & Dunn. Hewitt & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Right now at Genesis Diamonds, we're always giving relief to our customers with free financing for 5 diamond earrings and designer engagement ring or that luxury pre-owned Rolex and spread your payments over 5 whole years without paying a dime in interest. Today's anniversary just for us and the savings $45 off, and that's with zero down. Now through June only and only at Genesis Diamonds.
Now at O'Reilly, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Treatment for $9 and receive 2 times O Rewards points. In-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show. Plenty that we need to get into. But I did see earlier today, and Brett, I believe you have the odds, and I'm sure I can pull them up here if I need to, but the national championship odds for next season in college basketball have been released. And I think Alabama is the leader in the clubhouse. UConn not far behind them. So, Alabama definitely with what they've done this offseason, I think they are certainly the favorite to win.
I thought it was football when I first looked at the list.
Really? Wow.
Well, I saw Bama.
Well, Bama at number one for sure, but I guess you didn't look at number
Pavlov's
two.
dog, get it, Bama.
It would be funny if UConn's number two in the
Bama first, UConn, Kansas, same odds. Duke, Houston, same odds.
Mm-hmm.
Gonzaga next, then North Carolina, then Baylor, Auburn, Arkansas, all the same odds.
Wow.
Arizona, Kentucky, Purdue, all the same odds, and then Tennessee.
Wow. So, it was certainly a long time away before we even think about actual games in college basketball. But, man, it sounds like Alabama's going to have a really good team this year.
UCLA and Tennessee, same odds. Creighton next, Michigan State, Illinois, Texas.
Interesting.
St. John's, Florida, Miami, all plus 5,000.
Whew. Interesting. So, good list of teams. I don't know if I would bet any of those teams to win the national championship, but hey.
Mississippi State, Texas Tech, USC, San Diego State, and the Memphis Tigers plus 8,000.
Interesting. Wow. Well, higher. I just pulled up my sports book to see if they had their own odds for college basketball, and Tigers a little higher there than they are over at DraftKings. So that's interesting.
Can you middle them?
Maybe. I know Johnny Radio somewhere trying to do that right now, I'm sure, but I don't know if you can middle with a national champion.
Well, a lot of odds out today. Odds out for the Lakers' next head coach and the Cavaliers' next head coach.
Okay. So let's see.
Jimmy Borrego on both lists.
Okay, yeah, and I know Borrego's getting a lot more talk now.
Really?
For
Did
the
they see what he did in Charlotte?
Well, I like Borrego. I think a good coach. Maybe he can work things out in L.A. I don't know.
You think his next natural stop should be the Lakers?
Well, I think at this point the Lakers are desperate and
tough times.
I think who are some of the other names on the list?
You ever seen Rob Pelinka and Rob Lowe together?
I have not. No.
Do we know that they're not the same person?
Brett, I'd like to believe they're not, but hey, you might
Front
be onto
page day at ESPN, I thought, why is Rob Lowe on my laptop?
Why is Rob Lowe on ESPN right now? That is
I hadn't
great.
watched Rob Lowe since St. Elmo's Fire.
Where you been, Brett? Good Lord. Yeah, no, you're right. They look very similar. Very similar.
It's shocking.
They could be related. They could be the same person. I
think they are. You got to watch that Hollywood.
You do. They got some tricks up their sleeve, Brett. I'll tell you that.
Funky kicks going down in that city.
They definitely are.
J.J. Redick, top odds for the Lakers.
Okay.
Then James Borrego. Sam Cassell, Chris Quinn. Chris Quinn, 2 mentions in a day for Chris Quinn.
What a
Who
time.
saw that coming?
I promise you, not me.
We win something, don't we?
Certainly.
I mentioned him as a champion.
I don't really
with
know
the
what
Heat.
you win with that, but certainly
Not much.
something.
Tyronn Lue. Did we let the odds makers know that he's not leaving the Clippers?
I saw the funniest thing yesterday when Dan Hurley turned down the job for the Lakers, and it said something like, "I see everyone saying that if Dan Hurley had taken the Lakers job, he would have been one of the top 6 coaches, paid in the NBA. Who's going to tell him he would have been the second highest paid coach in LA, right behind Ty Lue with his extension?" But yeah, I think Ty Lue's just fine and with the Clippers.
And for the Cavaliers, Borrego is the top odds. Then David Edelman, Kenny Atkinson, Johnny Bryant, Chris Quinn.
Oh, wow, 3
3
times.
men.
How about that?
Chris Quinn,
that
Dave,
definitely
the
gets you
trifecta. Sam Cassell, Terry Stotts. J.J. Redick's 20-1 to be the Cavaliers coach, 1-5 to be the Lakers.
Wow.
Mike D'Antoni, Phil Handy, Adrian Griffin, Micah Nori, Becky Hammond, Dave Yeager, Luke Walton.
Dave Yeager, how about that?
Jay Wright, 66-1. Rick Pitino, 101. Mike Krzyzewski, 125-1.
The Mike Krzyzewski is not on there.
It's on my screen. I promise.
Wow.
I would not make that up.
Now that is not something I saw today.
Penny Hardaway, 200-1.
No,
I made that.
Now we're getting out
He
there.
says he dreams every day about being an NBA coach, though.
And he's interviewed for
his quote, not mine.
No, you're absolutely right about that. So,
try getting to the NCAA tournament first.
Well, yes. Let's work on that.
Or again.
Yeah, again, that'd be nice. Yeah, hopefully we have an answer here soon for both of these teams. I think they would the Lakers have come out and said they would like to hire their head coach by the NBA draft. But Brett, one of your favorite sayings, every day we get closer to the draft. I mean, it's time's not stopping for the Lakers.
The draft is getting here.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's going to get here with or without the Lakers hiring a coach.
Yeah, so if they really want that to be their deadline, they got to start working fast. And I haven't seen a ton. I've seen Borrego a lot more now for the Lakers, really, than I've seen J.J. Redick, his name popping back up.
Well, the Lakers are all over the place. I can't believe they look this feckless.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think you think of the Lakers and that prestige and that name and that city, but I go back to when we were talking yesterday about Hurley, and it sounds like there's some people inside the NBA that say that is not a very good job right now, and not surprised that people aren't wanting that job.
They are mirroring on the brink of incompetence when it comes to this coaching hire, in my opinion.
And Leon, I think they've been there, and now the mask is torn off.
Yeah, it's almost like a old Scooby-Doo cartoon where they've been running around like the monster, and now the mask is torn off.
I don't know how tight the Rambuses really are with Jeannie, but they don't care.
Sure.
But it's not a good look that it's perceived that the Rambuses can call shots.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's not a good look. But I guess that's where we are with the Lakers.
Official, the young man from Ole Miss, Jackson Suber, will replace John Rahm in the U.S. Open.
That's awesome. I felt pretty good when we were talking about that earlier, but definitely that's awesome to hear that.
And how's this for pressure? On the tee, Jackson Huber, Hideki Matsuyama, and Jordan Spieth.
How's that for
Hope
a
you're not nervous.
US Open? No. Hope you're ready. Oh, man. That's hey, that'll be fun for him. Get to play with two greats. That'll be really
What a
cool.
story to tell.
Honestly.
What'd you do last summer?
Just play at the US Open with Jordan Spieth and Hideki. I mean, no biggie.
I played in a 4-man scramble and we shot 45.
That's right. Yes. I think we had different summers,
Yeah.
That's a good time. Brett, I've been looking, and updates have been, kind of conflicting reports, if you ask me, about, you mentioned it earlier, the big news in the sports world today of Joey Chestnut being banned from the hot dog eating contest.
Pete Rose treatment.
I mean, unbelievable. Now, I have seen some tweets that said he's not actually banned, and that is fake news. Now, I don't know. That's coming from, I think, a
bid on
reporter at
fake
NBC.
news?
I don't know. Look, I don't know. There are a lot of people saying it's real news. Somebody from NBC is saying that that's not true, that he's still involved. But I did not know that the rival sponsor was a vegan food company. It's not even real meat. It's vegan. That doesn't seem like, when I saw signing with did a sponsorship with rival, I thought we were talking Oscar Mayer or something like that. We're talking Impossible Foods, a vegan brand.
Here's a guarantee. I never eat a vegan hot dog the rest of my life. I won't eat the first one.
Yeah, no, there's no again or anything.
What's the point?
I don't know. I knew a girl in middle school and high school who was a big time vegan, and she would do a lot of that where she would eat like vegan burgers. I don't know. I haven't kept up with her. Maybe. But yeah, I always asked her the same thing. I was like, why? And she had her reasons. But yeah, Impossible Foods for Joey Chestnut. Not what I'd call a rival. But that's just me.
I like Brian hot dogs.
Yeah, no, I like good old fashioned hot dogs as well. We mentioned a little bit the baseball last night. Not a massive slate of games by any means,
but it is tonight.
Some good games, and you're right. A big slate tonight. Cardinals get the Paul Skeens treatment. I think a couple games already going. Top of first, Braves and Orioles right now. Orioles playing good ball. Braves still looking for maybe some answers.
Leaking a little oil, a lot of injuries, sorting some things out. Will be in the mix.
Sure.
I don't think can win the East.
Oh, yeah, especially
Phillies
with the Phillies.
are too good.
Yeah, Phillies have just been out of this world.
But we know you punch that ticket, and the cards get redealt in October.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anything can happen once you get to October. And I would not bet against what I've seen from the Braves in recent years. I would not bet against the Braves to turn things around, especially as we get closer to October. So we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
What are some of the Skeens props tonight?
Oh, great question, Brett. Let's pull that up. I have not even looked at it. I don't
For
even
news manner only.
One. Yeah, I mean, no, nobody's actually betting this stuff.
I mean, it's
Brett.
legal.
We can promote it. Let's see. Pitching props tonight.
What is it, Leon?
One of them was over 7.5 strikeouts.
Yeah, over 7.5 strikeouts. Plus money if you want to go over for Paul Skeens tonight. Let's see some other ones. Earned runs. Over under 1.5 earned runs for Paul Skeens tonight against the Cardinals.
I'd take a flyer and go over.
Really? Well, he gave up 2 home runs his last outing. Now that was against
you can't
the
get 2 runs off
Dodgers.
a guy that's pitching in college a year ago.
Well, Brett, I mean, it's pretty good.
This is big leagues.
Well, you're right, but Cardinals have struggled at times. I don't know how confident I am in those bats.
I don't either.
Not great.
But I got the perfect choice.
But you
Perfect
won't tell
manager.
anybody. I mean, I know you can say that all you want, but you won't tell anybody.
You're going to love it when I do.
We're going to figure it out.
I don't know if we are, Aldwin. I hope so, but
No shot.
when Brett is that confident about something,
And it is not Yadier Molina.
oh man, I didn't even think about that, but that'd be great.
In fact, I don't want it to be because you know what we're going to have to do to Yadier Molina?
Be critical of him.
Be critical of him. Question him.
That's a good point.
Maybe, well, the Cardinal fans aren't big booers, but be irritated with him. We don't want that. I mean, if it has to end poorly for Yadier Molina, we're not talking about it ending poorly like it did for Mike Schilt or Oliver Marmol.
No, it's completely different game when it's Yachty. I mean, Yachty is Yachty.
Because if he gets hired very early in his tenure as manager, his number's being retired.
Oh man, that's
and a statue the size of Stan the Man's is going up outside baseball heaven.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And we want to be critical of that.
I don't. I tell you that. You know what? You've sold me.
Now my choice will make Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols very, very mad.
Interesting.
Because they'll go, why not, one of us? Why not somebody, established in the organization?
Interesting. I almost want to put like 21 questions with Brett to try to figure out who it is. You said he has a World Series.
No,
Oh,
he
okay.
isn't.
I thought
No.
you said that earlier. Maybe I misheard.
He's never been a big league manager.
Okay, interesting. Huh. Okay, I'm excited. I really am. I hope. How
But
long
a
do you think you're gonna
distinct
tease
St.
this?
Louis tie.
Okay, how long do you think you're gonna tie this? Or, tease
I'll
this?
give it tomorrow with Rob.
Okay, perfect. So all we gotta do is wait till about 5:15, 5:20.
It would help me to wait a week or so.
Okay, well
But
then let's tease it with.
No,
Rob
I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, all right. We'll see what happens. I'm
And
excited.
it's bold with a B.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Really good slate of baseball tonight, like we were saying though. Like I mentioned, 2 games going on right now. Couple about to get started, and then at 6 o'clock, it's downhill from there. We'll have some good games, but let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day, and when we come back, we're up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
You know what Taco Bell's new $4 Cantina Chicken Taco Deal is giving you? In addition to a Cantina Chicken Taco featuring our new slow roasted chicken plus chips and nacho cheese sauce plus a medium drink, you also get a choice. Do you want a Cantina Chicken Crispy Taco with cheese inside and out, or a Cantina Chicken Soft Taco with lettuce, pico, and purple cabbage? Whatever you choose, do it quick so you don't miss out on this deal. Get the $4 Cantina Chicken Taco Deal at Taco Bell today.
Participating in this area Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact store for price and participation restrictions. Drinks exclude freezes, tax extra.
Anticipation is building for Memphis football. 3, 2, 1, that's your winner! With a cast of returning stars ready for the big stage. The momentum for Memphis football is on the rise. Breaking into the end zone. Tiger touchdown. He's got he denied. It's time to practice. So purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGo.com.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facility safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
June. It's wedding season.
It is.
Or as I like to call it, Free Central Barbecue Month.
Who's what now?
Well, not that I don't enjoy weddings. I do, especially the ones that I can tell are going to be a disaster. But what I love about weddings is that so many people choose Central Barbecue to cater the food at the reception.
You root for marriages to fail?
Not exactly root. I just enjoy drama and free barbecue. I like to sit there and enjoy my plate of Central Barbecue with beans and slaw and wait for things to blow up.
At the reception?
Ideally. I mean, I won't be around to see it otherwise. Plus, free Central Barbecue.
Now back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, it was a busy day today for the University of Memphis football team, and that's what I learned today. First, Phil Steele, the magazines themselves aren't out yet, but we're starting to get releases of the conference teams, all conference honors, those sort of things, all Americans, yada, yada, yada. Well, in Phil Steele's magazine, he has Chandler Martin, linebacker for the University of Memphis, as a 4th-team preseason All-American, so very high honors for the linebacker that we learned earlier this offseason, kind of I think the spring practice when we learned it, that he was not playing at 100% last year. He was playing more around 75, 80%, dealing with some nagging injuries. Then when you go to the all AAC selections, a ton of love for the Tigers. Seth Hennigan, first team quarterback in the AAC. Rock Taylor, first team. Xavier Hill, first team. Chandler Martin, first team. Sutton Smith, 3 guys on second team. Whole lot of guys on third team and a couple on the fourth team. So a lot of love right now from Phil Steele with his preseason teams, but also Tiger football got a commitment today. 3-star wide receiver Xavier Johnson committed to Memphis earlier today. He chose Memphis over SMU, TCU, and Texas Tech, which were his other top teams. He was committed to SMU, but recently decommitted and then was on campus this past weekend on a visit. A top 60 receiver in this class at some site, so a really big pickup for Coach Silverfield and this Tiger football team. And I think maybe going a little under the radar. I think this is a big-time pickup. And so I hope more people are talking about it because this is definitely a good start to that 2025 class.
You learned about Tiger football today. I learned about Tiger Woods in the media room at the U.S. Open. He says he's good to go. The scouting trip last week sealed it. He's ready to go. He's ready to play. In his past 22 major starts, he's missed the cut 10 times and WD'd twice. Wow. I hate seeing him like this. But aging sports people really never know when it's over. It's always good to leave a little too soon than one day too late.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's hard to see Tiger like this. I don't think anybody likes watching it, but very clearly he is towards the end of that
It's
career.
getting close to Ali ending.
Yeah, no,
for Tiger.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely tough to see. What I could have done without, definitely a couple of things that I could have done without, but maybe 2 of the biggest ones. One, we already talked a lot about Joey Chestnut, this whole situation with the rival brands, whatever. Hate to see that. It's going to ruin my 4th of July. I promise you that. But
man,
also,
who knew the eating world was so ugly?
I mean, I didn't know that was going to be front page headlines today.
Wherever
in the
there's
world.
money, there's ugly.
Well, that's very true. Something else I could have done without today. There was a anonymous players poll sent out by The Athletic to Major League Baseball players. And one of the questions asked in this poll was, should Major League Baseball shut down mid-season so players can participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles? 46.6% said yes. 53.3% said no. I was kind of surprised that
I'm with the no voters.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm with yes. I say let those guys participate.
I say send the college players.
If baseball is sent, why not let these guys participate? And 1 year, one time in LA. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see those major league players, and America would have. A lot of countries would have super
That would
teams.
give
America
us
would
a
be
World
fun.
Series Game 7 on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, but I think they're trying to find ways maybe around it and trying
And
to
who in baseball do
change
you trust to find that way?
Well, you know what, Brett? That is a great
Remember,
point.
Rob Manfred runs the sport.
That's a good point. I sometimes forget that. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a great idea.
Could have done without Lakers fans really going to shine up the hiring of Jimmy Borrego. Are we supposed to have amnesia about his tenure as head coach of Charlotte? This is David Fizdale all over again.
Yikes. David Fizdale. Didn't know I was going to get a David Fizdale reference today. I love that. Where are you being tonight?
St. Louis for Paul Skeens and the Pirates against soft-tossing Miles Michaelis. Maybe he'll throw it too slow and really flummox the Pirates like the SEMO pitching.
Well, some teams have issues with that, Brett. You gotta have teams that
I'm
can
telling
come
you,
in there.
too slow is right up there with
crazy.
The beer's too cold.
You don't hear
They
that
need the
very
beer a
much.
little
Yes.
warmer.
A little warmer, yes. We don't like the beer that cold. Let's see. Tonight, beam me to, let's go to this Yankees-Royals game tonight in Kansas City.
That's a good one.
Maybe one of the stories of the Major League Baseball season, sitting at 39-28. Yankees.
I want to watch
really
these
attendance
attendance numbers, too, because this used to be the big draw in Kansas City when the Bombers came to town.
Yeah, and it's a good pitching matchup. Marcus Stroman, 5-2, 3.04 ERA, going up against Singer, who's 4-2 with a 2.76 ERA. I think a really good pitching matchup tonight in Kansas City.
All baseball for me. Late. Rangers at Dodgers. Rangers won the World Series last year. The Dodgers last won the World Series in the bubble in the Rangers Stadium in 2020. And then Justin Turner went all mass murder on us by celebrating without his mask on. Remember that?
That was when the world couldn't handle him celebrating without his mask on. I forgot about that. Different time, Brett.
Like he was out there with an axe.
Yeah, I don't want to get back to a time like that. That was awful.
There's many that would like to.
No, you're absolutely right about that. But no, should be a really fun night, even though we don't have the NBA Finals tonight. Some really good baseball action. I'm really excited to see Paul Skeens tonight against Miles Michaelis, and see if this Cardinals team can put some hits together against Paul Skeens. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair.